faces. Faces going nowhere. The tears of expression, no expression. Sorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Yes, Mad World by Michael Andrews featuring Gary Jules, made famous by Donnie Darko, originally done by Tears for Fears. And yes, I know that song has been subjected to ruthless parody for, you know, typical emo, sad music and all that good stuff, but I still like it. And hey, it fits in with the tone of the game, so why bother to complain? You're just wasting your time. Anyways, hello everybody and welcome back to Shadow of the Colossus. Last episode, we faced off against both Hydrus and Kuramori, two of the better bosses, two of my more memorable bosses in the game. Good. So, yeah, let's get back to it. And, yeah, we're officially at the halfway point of this game. And, which means we're gonna get quite a bit of, bosses. Some famous for all the right reasons, and some rather infamous for all the wrong reasons. And in this episode, we're focusing on two that are kind of infamous for all the wrong reasons. I personally don't mind the two Colossi that we're facing off against, but, yeah. Suffice to say, these two kind of have a bit of, semi-sorted past with the player base at large, so, let's get into it. Okay, let's go over there. I think I know where we're supposed to go, because I think we accidentally passed through it trying to get to Hydrus. So, back to the general plot of this game. Again, I always found it interesting that people always said this plot was complex, because, like I said, not only is it a rather simple plot, but it's not like there's anything new that we've seen before. Not really, if you think about it. And this is beside the obvious, what's his name? Dorman, I want to say, which, if you're at all familiar with, you know, any sort of, you know, story, you can easily identify what it's meant to represent. You know, very much plays heavily on the traditional Faustian bargain found in a lot of religious texts, particularly those of the Judeo-Christian faith that we know today. You know, the classic deal with the devil. Of course, someone argued that it's not really a devil, and that it's, you know, that Dorman is not really that much of a manipulative force. Minor spoilers ahead. And that it kind of drew Wanderer, and that Wanderer was the one to make the choice by himself. But, you know, it's pretty obvious if you know of any sort of literary parallels or mythological parallels that, you know, you've seen this setup before. A shadowy, mysterious, you know, a person who has lost someone or something very close to their heart, a mysterious, shadowy figure promising to give them said thing back in exchange for something particular, you know, becoming a pawn to the entity in question because of the bargain, the deal, as it were, that you have made. You know, just take a random guess what it's inspired by. Like, if you know anything about, Christian mythology and, you know, the devil. In fact, the fact that Dorman refers to itself as we, you know, my name is Legion, for we are many. My name is Legion, for we are many. One of the most referenced and parodied, not parodied, but one of the most referenced verses of the Bible. You know, the Gospel of Mark, chapter verse 5-9. Hell, Legion from Mass Effect 2, who took that as its inspirational namesake. You know, because it's been a trope used so often. So like I said, it's not really a very original story. And it also plays not just on Judeo-Christian themes, but also on a lot of classic Greek mythological tales. Like, if you're familiar with, yeah, we're in the right place. I want to say if you're familiar with, actually did a play on it in my junior year. What is it? I think it's Orpheus. I want to say it's Orpheus. I could be wrong. But if you're familiar with the tale of Orpheus, you know, girl gets dragged down into the underworld, down to Hades, and Orpheus goes through this quest to bring her back to the world of the living, because she is the love of his life. Ophelia, I think her name was, you know. Again, draws a lot of parallels to that. So if you're very familiar with mythology, it's not that original of a story. It plays on a lot of very familiar themes and tropes. But again, playing on familiar themes and tropes is not a bad thing if you can do it well. And to shout out the Colossus' credit, it does those themes well. And creates a rather interesting sort of dilemma, especially in the latter stages of the game. With regards to the more we get into the Colossi, and the more everything kind of slowly starts to unravel. Yeah. We're in the right place here. I'm just trying to remember how to trigger this guy. And not the triggering that you're expecting, although that's always fun too, especially if the person in question brought it on themselves with their bad attitude and arrogance. But anyways, okay, let's get this guy rolling. 9th Colossi. Ah, yes. Hello, buddy. How are you? This is Bassaran. As you can see, it's a giant turtle. A giant turtle that shoots motherfucking lightning out of its mouth. So, this boss has quite a bit of infamy in this game. If you ask a lot of people who've played this game before, this guy usually ranks pretty low on their list. And for some people, they consider it the absolute nadir boss fight that they face off in the game. One, because, well, he keeps doing that, and any Colossi that has long-range attacks like that, it's kind of hard to draw them out. The other thing, oh, jeez. The other thing is, I don't know if it's a primary factor, but the Fox certainly isn't helping here. And, like, I remember it being way worse in the PlayStation 2 version. with those graphics. And even now with this HD remaster, it's kind of hard to see. So the thing with Bassaran is that his sigils are right there on his legs, or his feet rather. But obviously, because he's a giant lightning turtle, we can't easily get access to them. So you may be wondering, how the hell are we supposed to get the sigils then? Well, you see these geysers around? Yeah! What we gotta do is... is lead Bassaran over to one of these geysers. And the idea behind it is that when the geysers are underneath him, and they got to be directly underneath his midsection, they will... Oh, it did it, and then it... Yeah, here we go. When the geysers are directly underneath his midsection... Oh, shit. Yeah. So anyway, the geysers have to be directly underneath his midsection, and the force from those geysers is going to essentially propel him up and knock him off balance. And we get to the most infamous reason why this boss is so hated. Oh, actually, it's working. Never mind. Maybe they fixed it? Who knows? Yeah, and you gotta shoot both of these square things on his feet while riding on aggro with your bow and arrow, which is easier said than done because of the controls, but come on. God damn it. But yeah, you can see the problem with this boss already. The geysers are on a timer that's just long enough for you to actually get this guy off center. Come on. This guy off center. Come on. Fucking aggro, man. This is where... Yeah, I know. The problem is the controls. Yeah, this is the main problem with this fight, is that the controls, really more than anything else, fuck you over here. Because you've got to be precise, and I mean fucking precise, in order to do it, because you don't have a very big window of opportunity here. The other problem is that, okay, they did fix it, but another problem with these geysers is that not only is the timing a bit off, but in the PS2 version, this fight was pretty notorious for being buggy as hell. No. God damn it, aggro. That's the problem with this damn horse, is that it keeps moving. Ah! Fucking controls, man. God. Don't let up, because you can tell the problem that I'm having with this fight, and the fact that this stupid thing keeps telling you this is not helping my case. Just shut the fuck up. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Just shut up. Okay, there we go. But yeah, you can see the problem. Here's the other reason why this boss was so notorious. In the original PS2 version, this fight was glitched pretty badly. By that I mean, the hit detection on the geysers was wonky as shit. It was a complete crapshoot as to whether or not the geysers in question would actually help you out. Because sometimes, for whatever reason, the way... Okay, how do we... And another thing is how to get up on this guy. Are we doing that right? That's the other thing, is that this guy does not have a lot of spots to grab onto. Oh, shit. Here we go. Here we go? Wait. There we go. Yeah. The hit detection on the geysers was really, really finicky. Sometimes the geysers' hit detection was so inconsistent that if the boss was right underneath the geysers, it would just there were times where even if the geysers would just pass right through them. Yep. Even if he was in the exact same spot where he managed to get tipped over the first time, sometimes they just wouldn't work. So, yeah, that was pretty fun. Which is why a lot of people don't like this boss, because of the fact that the idea of it is conceptually sound. The problem is that no one likes having to face off against a boss whose programming is kind of janked. Because at that point, your cool idea for a boss fight isn't really so cool after all. Me personally, I actually didn't have a problem with this boss the first time I faced him, because for some reason the physics just seemed to work for me. But now I can see the true problem with it, and that is the jank as fuck controls. I know this is just a remastered version, so I'm not expecting the game to essentially, you know, have all new controls. And it'd be really hard to try and fix them. But at the same time, these controls were unacceptable back in 2005. They're really unacceptable now. So that's one of the reasons I don't like it. It's mainly just for the horseback ride. This is not the best boss to take advantage of horseback riding. But yeah, Lightning Turtle's down. Yeah, again, honestly, the idea for this boss is really cool. Now I don't think he's nearly as good of a fight, but that's mainly just because of the controls. But it seems that they fixed the physics issues with the water geyser, so props to them. But yeah, one of the more disliked Colossi in the game. You can kind of see why. Well, at least he only has one weak spot. That's good, right? And it is on his head. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't completely hate this boss, but it's heavily flawed. Let's just put it that way. He'd be lower on like a tier list, like if I made it like a boss tier list of Shadow of the Colossus, he'd be a bit lower than some of the others, but I don't think he's the worst boss ever. My worst boss ever is coming up in the next video, so... Or my least favorite boss in the game. But the next one? Not so much. He's actually one of my favorite fights, but, huh. Didn't realize you can move the camera during cutscenes. It's a bit weird because it's not letting you, get him over faster, but it exists. So there you go. I guess. Hello, horse. Don't worry, you're gonna get a much better boss fight. Yeah! Boss fight that takes advantage of your mechanics soon. And I think I know where this next one is. Oh, I gotta wait for this. But, yeah. So... yeah, as you can tell with this game, there are a lot of interpretations going into it because of how little we actually know about Wanderer and Dorman and really any of the characters in the game. They are very, like, we know their basic motivations, but we don't know a whole lot about their personalities, which has led to a lot of interesting debate when it comes to certain people. And as you could probably tell, the fact that with some of the Colossi we've killed, it's kind of a bit obvious that we're not 100% in the good realm, even though we're kind of fighting for a semi-noble cause. That's the thing. Because at the end of the day, Wanderer is not a hero. He's an anti-hero. Let's just get that. Oh, let's just get that obvious thing over and done with. Is there any way I can get around this without having to go through the damn forest? Apparently not. But I think I do know where to go. In fact, I'm almost certain I know where to go. So this won't be as painful as Barbas. But yeah, Wanderer in this game, the Wanderer's not a hero. He's an anti-hero. How much of the term hero you want to stretch? That's the subject for debate. Because you may think he's just a noble soul doing what he feels is right, even though what he's doing is horrible, but he's doing it for, you know, a good cause, at the very least. And other times, you may purely because he's doing it for himself and fuck everything in this ecosystem. Especially because, you know, a lot of the Colossi are portrayed as kind of lonely sort of, you know, creatures. I wouldn't say wholly benevolent, because that implies that they're, you know, giant, peace-loving, you know, things that have no desire to hurt anyone. Because that's not true for some of them. Yes, some of them react in self-defense, but it's pretty clear that regardless of whether or not you feel the Colossi can exhibit, whether or not the Colossi have humanoid desires and actions as we would perceive them, or if they're just reacting on instinct and territorial behavior like actual animals, that's kind of the blurred line, because Colossi are just that. Some are more animalistic than others. In appearance, certainly, but I don't know necessarily about behavior. So, again, there's very little we know about that, and that creates a lot of ambiguity as to whether we're in this situation or not. Again, much like Spec Ops: The Line, where there is a lot of ambiguity to that plot. Certainly, if you dig deeper and deeper, but really, whether that ambiguity reinforces a semi-positive but still reluctant worldview of a hero, of someone who believes that, who is doing what they do, as horrible as it is, out of a noble cause, or someone who is doing this out of their own gratification and sense of ego, you know, that's very much up to player interpretation. And if you want my answer or opinions on this, the only answer I can give is that I have no answer. Let's just leave it at that, because, you know, I can understand where both sides are coming from, and I think both sides, if you consider it and are reasonable about it and not extreme about it, are rather valid. There is a certain case to be made with both interpretations when it comes to Wanderer's character, as well as, you know, Dorman's character. You know, of course, some people may feel that it is a very antagonistic force, as befitting of its obvious Faustian nature with regards to the offer it's proposing, and some might not think that at all. It's just not really there. Some could make the argument, of course, when we get to the ending, this argument kind of falls completely apart. Some could make the argument, certainly, that Dorman actually is just not real at all. It's just a figment of Wanderer's imagination. You know, kind of like the little voice in the back of your head that tells you it's gonna make everything alright and do everything else while leading you down a path of self-destruction and doing things that you really kind of shouldn't be doing, but you're too, you know, you're too clouded by being in a bad headspace with regards to something that's happened to actually do anything about it. Holy shit, that's actually, wow. Fucking wow, this game, wow. This is getting into a very personal topic that I don't want to discuss until later, but me just realizing that, if you read this game as a metaphor for serious chronic severe depression, I would not bat twice at a night just thinking about that. But we're gonna get into metaphors and stuff. Anyway, here's the boss arena. Yes, a bunch of sand. And here we go. Here's our good old-fashioned friend, Dirge. Yep, remember what I was saying in Resident Evil 3 about how it seems like almost every video game ever has to have some giant fuck-off sandworm XP? Yep, Dirge is one such instance of that. And if you've met my friend Jack in real life, you'll know this is his favorite boss in Shadow of the Colossus. His absolute favorite. Hey Jack, if you're watching this, how you like enjoying this guy remastered in all its glory, buddy? But yeah, the difference between the Dirge and the other Colossi, that this guy don't like you at all. In fact, if aggro doesn't move the fuck right away, we're probably gonna die here. But yeah, this is not an easy boss to do because unlike other Colossi, which really only reacted when you've either gotten near them or pissed you off, Dirge is actively trying to fucking kill you. As befitting a giant worm. Well, not really worm, snake. Yeah, those eyes, man. Those beady little eyes. And sure enough, oh god, that is terrifying. That is really terrifying shit. Yep, first death of the project, which is to be expected, because this boss is not easy, because one, the controls are really fucking you over here, but more importantly, this area does not have a lot of room to maneuver around. I know, it may seem ironic that you've got a giant empty space around here, but considering how fast this thing moves, considering the fact that you're running into debris, considering that when the boss is chasing you, the camera is focused right behind you so you can't see what the fuck's in front of you, it is not easy to do. Pretty much the only thing you can do is try and run concentric circles around this thing and hope for the best that you don't get hit, because otherwise, yeah, he is not easy to face off against. And the fact that he is deliberately trying to kill you is just all the more terrifying. This is the only Colossus in the game where the idea of a benevolent, gentle creature that just wants to be left the fuck alone, nah, fuck that shit, man, it's gone out the window. This thing hates your guts and it wants you dead. And it enjoys it. Doesn't help that my controls feel reversed too. Oh, and it even sounds like a snake too. But those big eyes, as intimidating as they are, they do have one major problem. Yeah, you could probably guess right now that those creepy ass eyes, those creepy ass eyes also lead to the boss's main Achilles heel. Those things might as well be giant shoot me signs. So yeah, shooting arrows into its eyes is far. But you may be asking, how do you kill it? We don't see any sigils, and obviously, whatever sigils it does have are buried underneath mounds of sand. So how the hell are you supposed to kill this thing? Shooting in the eye is just going to piss it off more, or at the very least, temporarily stop it. Well, yep. Shooting it in the eye will cause it to ram itself into a big ass wall, which means this boss is also kind of a semi-pseudo bullfight boss. You know the ones I'm talking about. The one where you've got a big giant fuck off monster or something, and the only way you can stun it is by dodging its attacks and running it into a wall. You know those kinds of bosses? Yeah. But unlike those other bosses, which, in my opinion, are just bland, annoying, and not really all that exciting, because most of the time, bosses like that are literally just brick shit, are just built like brick shit houses and have the same visual appeal. Nah, motherfucker, you're facing off against it. You're facing off against something far more horrifying. Horrifying. If Frank Herbert envisioned, it's like Frank Herbert's sandworms from Dune were recomposed through the. It's like if the sandworms from Frank Herbert's Dune novels were recomposed through the eyes of Guillermo del Toro. It's. Ugh. Those eyes, man. That's the kind of shit that'll stare into your soul. It's the kind of shit you see at night. The kind of thing where you wake up in cold sweats because you're sleeping, you're having a dream, and all of a sudden, BAM! It flashes across your eyes, across your mind for one brief second, staring at you, watching you. You think you're able to get away from it? Nah, it's always there. Oh, shit! Again. Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me, man. This is where the control... Yeah, this is the part of the game where the controls really just suck. Granted, it's not helped by the fact that the camera angle exasperates it, but still, this is the point of the game where the age of the controls are really starting to get on my goddamn nerves. Because if the controls responded normally, this fight would be pretty easy. Okay, maybe not easy, but it would at least be manageable. But the fact that the controls are as tank-like and as semi-unresponsive as they are, ugh. It just exasperates the problem. Smile, you son of a... Alright. Yeah, this is, as you can tell by the fact that I've died twice, and the first time that I've died at all through this LP, you can tell this ain't easy. Would I have loved to get through this game with no deaths? I mean, yeah, obviously, but that should speak to volumes about the difficulty of this boss. Yeah, this really feels like you're a little worm on the end of a big fucking hook right now. You've got a massive barracuda raining down on you, just ready to chomp you into little bite-sized pieces, like the harmless little guppy you are. Yeah, you can tell why this boss is a bit infamous. It's not because it's a bad boss fight at all. I mean, it is a little bit difficult thanks to the shifting camera perspective, and the fact that this shit happens thanks to said camera perspective. I don't know why they decided to do that. It is really annoying. So it's a little bit difficult, but it's not really that difficult. It doesn't throw any unexpected gameplay changes at you, and it's not unfair or bullshit or anything, although it is a hard fight. No, the reason this boss is infamous is because it's fucking terrifying. This is the one boss where you feel just how weak and fragile you actually are. Okay, where are you? I'm trying to detect it by sound to see where it's gonna go. Or it could just... Oh, no. No. God, aggro. Yeah, the controls are already clunky enough on foot. On horseback, though, oh my god. And the sounds that it makes don't help either. Because it sounds like a rattlesnake on meth. And if I remember right, the other weak point is further up its back. Come on. Come on. Move faster, Pokey. Come on. I don't know how much time we have, but I don't think we've got enough. Oh, there's the second sigil. There we go. Start stabbing. 1, 2. Come on, give me 3. Give me 3. Give me 3. Yes. Okay, it's done. Dirge is dead. Oh boy. Yeah. Am I glad to be done with this boss? Honestly, I kind of would have to put this boss in the upper echelon if I had a tier list, because despite how terrifying it is and how finicky the controls are, it's still pretty fun. It gets your heart pumping real good. And if nothing else, it's at least one of the more unique fights in the game. So, there is that. Plus, it gives me ample opportunity to torture my friend Jack. So that's always something, because he's so easy to fuck with. If you know him in real life, yeah, you have endless material to torture him with. It's fun. Derives me a little bit of joy in my depressed, miserable bastardom of existence. But if that was Jack's least favorite fight in this game, the next Colossus... Ugh. Ugh, I am not looking forward to fighting that bastard. But that's for tomorrow, so we're going to call it here. So anyway, thank you all for watching this video. Go to my channel to see all my other Shadow of the Colossus Remastered Let's Plays videos, as well as the all my previous Let's Play / live streams. And I will see you next time. Take care, everybody.